Hey folks, how's it going? Live again. This is the VG Collect Christmas round two. So, uh, with me, I have help me pronounce it.
Kumo. Kumo.
Cool. I would have gotten that totally wrong.
Yeah, for years people say Koemo. It's Kumo. Koemo1.
Give me 2 seconds because I can definitely tell that there is something in the background that is playing back. So it's Kumo.
Yes.
Excelente.
Koemo1.
I'm closing every single browser imaginable. There we go. I could hear a hint of stuff running in the background. So I'm going to load up my phone just to make sure that we've got the chats. So folks, if you want to contribute in the chats, go right ahead. By contribute, I certainly don't mean donate. You don't need to do that. But if you want to drop some things, what are you hoping to get for Christmas? What have you already got for Christmas? Did you sneak and peek at your presents? We are going to we got each other for Secret Santa. I think we're allowed to say that now, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're not supposed to post in the forum already what you got, since I think the rule was to wait till after Christmas, but everybody's already posted their Christmas
Gotcha.
gifts.
Yeah, we can't post in the forum what we got, but we can make a live stream and a video.
I guess that's true.
That's a little bit of a double standard. So I'm just loading up the stream manager here to make sure I can welcome anybody that comes into the chat.
Sure.
So I took some chances actually. One more time with the pronunciation of it.
It's pronounced Kumo. Kumo1.
Kumo.
You can say Koemo1 is also good.
All right. Where's the one come from?
The name itself originates from me playing RuneScape when I was 6 years old and used to kill a lot of cows. Cow is pronounced ku in Dutch. The ku says mu, so I took off one O, I don't know why. Kumo, and it was the first account. So one, Kumo1.
Wow. You know, in a million years, I would have never guessed that story.
No,
so
but it's been I've been using that name now for, I guess, 18 years. Yeah.
Hey, it works. It works. I'm glad I asked because I was gonna be like Koemo.
I mean, that's all right.
But
you can use say.
So I got you for this year for VG Collect. Actually, I selected you. Secret spoiler alert. I specifically selected you because I knew sometimes a lot of VG Collect Secret Santa takes place in the States, right? And you're actually not from the States, though. Do you mind sharing just generally where you're from? You don't have to give like exact address.
I'm from the Netherlands, but what I've seen is that over the years, so I started in 2014, so that was the second VG Collect Secret Santa. I got selected with somebody from Uruguay. So I think that over the years it become more America-centric and less foreign participants participate. So
yeah, I think I think the shipping too. I think this year, especially with shipping, with COVID and all that other stuff, it's been really interesting shipping. I know that the analog NT, the new Mini, the Noir, they redid the Nintendo analog Mini, and a lot of folks got hit with some pretty heavy shipping. I got lucky that mine shipped out just before the new kind of taxes and charges hit, but some people were not quite so lucky, and they had FedEx and others come to them and say, hey, if you want us to deliver your analog NT Mini, which was like, it was already something like $400, $500, I don't remember, but the import charges were going to be like another $200 to $300, which was just kind of crazy. So a lot of folks were super surprised by that. So shipping.
How many kilos is the analog NT? Because my gift to you was around 1 kilo, and shipping was 15 euros on track.
Yeah.
Because I never used the track and trace. But I think 15 euros to send to America is quite reasonable.
Yeah, I think I'm going just based by like weight in the hand. I think it's about roughly 5 pounds, maybe 5 to 8 pounds in weight. I don't know how many kilos that would be, but
I guess it's half. So 5 pounds would be 2.5 kilos.
yeah. So the other challenge I think was that because of the nature of what it is, it's got an FPGA and other things like that. Like it was taxed as a console import because that's basically what it is. And there's it wasn't just the shipping charges. There's an extra charge now for specifically video game consoles. And so this thing got hit with a pretty heavy, that charge was like 40%, 30 or 40% of the value of the console. So it's pretty intense, the cost to import. So people were kind of surprised by that and hit pretty hard with it. But
you have this empty console, right?
I do actually. Yeah, I have the.
Does it play like region, like auto region?
It does actually. It'll play.
Oh, then it's good. Then it's good.
Yeah, it's got two. It's in the other room, or I'd grab it. But it's got. It's made the full body is made out of aluminum, and the bottom of it is glass. So if you flip it upside down, you can actually see the board underneath, and all the traces and everything on the board are like gold plated. All the connectors and everything for HDMI and everything are gold plated. The FPGA in it is pretty capable. It's got 2 slots, one for the NES, the original like American version, and then it's got Famicom, so the Japanese form factor. But it'll play Famicom or NES games from any region. It works with EverDrives. It works with Game Genie, all the original peripherals. And then there's even a jailbreak core that's available for it that has other cores like Sega Master System, Game Boy, and things like that. So there's a lot of games that you could play off of SD card. And when you get the jailbreak firmware, you can even take your original cartridges, pop them in, and you can dump the ROMs and the save RAM of your existing cartridges to the flash memory as well. It's pretty versatile console. So it's really expensive, but it's kind of like the fine wine of like, new old consoles, I guess.
So yeah, it sounds very expensive. But I guess if you can play on the like big screen using HDMI, it would be very handy. Otherwise, you have to keep like a tube TV or a CRT. Yep. Is that how it's called? Which I prefer. I still play PlayStation 2 on the CRT. I know a lot of people use like a flat screen TV, but I don't know how to do that actually. You would need like a, how do you call that?
Like an adapter.
Yeah, like a composite or component to HDMI cable.
Yeah. I do both. So this hooked into HDMI. What's nice is that they've handled it in the hardware in such a way that it's a completely lag-free pass-through. They have other modes that can like enhance the graphics and do different things, but they'll introduce a hint of lag. Even so, the lag is very, very low. So the analog series of consoles is actually pretty robust. I guess there's open source efforts now, something called Mr. FPGA, where you can like get the components, build it yourself, almost like a Raspberry Pi, only with much more capable hardware. But I kind of like the whole plug and play nature of a console. Just pop the cartridge in and start to play. So analog kind of fits the bill there. But I wanted to ask you, we're going to get into the I requested to be your secret Santa because I wasn't worried about the shipping and all that other stuff. I thought I could figure out a way to make it work, which it sounds like it did. Instead of me trying to order stuff from overseas and have it shipped to me and then wrap it and then ship it back to you, I get a lot of my own stuff off of eBay, and I've ordered enough stuff internationally to where I generally haven't had any problems as long as I order well enough in advance. Like I expect it could take a couple months to hop a border or 2 or 3. And so what I did is, in your case, I went through your wish list. I tried to find some games that were probably not games that you were just going to like automatically impulse buy, and games that were not like your normal, regular, common games. And I don't want to give away. I'll let you show what you got. But then I went on to eBay to see who has those and do they have them in new or near new condition. And are they close enough to you to where they would ship it and handle things like, hey, I'll pay a little bit extra to gift wrap into this and to that. and to change the address to be Santa and all that. But I kind of had to take it on faith that these people weren't just gonna like. I had tracking, but still, I mean, they could have put anything in the tracking, right? And they could have shipped like a box of rocks or something. But it sounds like, spoiler alert, everything got to you, right?
Yeah, the problem is that one was sent from Utrecht, which is the city I also study in. So when I saw there was an envelope from Utrecht, I thought it was from my university. So I immediately opened it and I saw it was a game.
What one was it? Go ahead and show us. What was the game that you got? What was the one that you thought was from university?
The first one I got in was, I won't show it was Whacked for the Xbox. It's an Xbox exclusive, published by Microsoft. I think it is like a combination of a game show and platform or beat 'em up. I'm not sure. And I look very forward to playing this in January when the new year starts. Whacked. Yeah. Nice.
So tell us a little bit, how did, because I looked this up online beforehand. Like I'm like, what is this game? And it's a pretty I won't say bizarre, but it's a rather unique game. So I guess tell me a bit of like, how does a game like that, how do you how are you exposed to the fact that this game exists, and like what was the impetus for this going onto your wish list?
I don't know. I was looking for. Oh, I'm on mute. No, I'm not.
No, you're good.
I was looking for Xbox exclusives that were not published on other consoles, because I think if I want to go for multi-platform games, I would go for PlayStation 2 releases, even though they're inferior to the Xbox ones. So I was looking to Xbox exclusive games, and I saw this game, and the cover, was very intriguing, looked very interesting. Not sure if it can use quite some glare, but yeah, it's a very wacky cover with there's like an Elvis lookalike, and there's like a duck, and there's a girl with very scantily clad. I would guess you would say.
During the gameplay, she's actually naked, isn't she?
I'm not sure actually.
Because they like all the video that I saw, it looked like it was built into the game. All the video that I saw of her when you're playing around with her, like there's actually like sensor bars that are like tracked to her body. So
the game is ELSPA 11, so there's like a PG 11, which so I imagine it's quite child friendly, something like that.
Right.
So now that you say that she is like naked, I guess that kind of makes me come off as a pervert or something buying this.
No, not at all, because it looked like it was part of the comedy. So like in America, it would be a lot more people like scratching their heads, like, okay, because they don't actually show anything. I want to make it clear, like YouTube didn't censor the videos. The game self-censors itself. So and the whole concept of Whacked is it's this futuristic game show, and all these people are stereotypes of different characters or different styles of people, and what those stereotypes how they might act, how they might look and be if they're in a game show, kind of how this one is crafted and architected. And so I definitely saw where the humor value in it, and it definitely looked like the game would be a trip. But I guess what I was mostly surprised about was that level of humor in an Xbox title for that time. It looked like it was actually pushing the edge of like what you could do in a game, quite a bit harder than a lot of games get that kind of credit, like Night Trap and everything. And then you actually play the game and you're like, there was a whole big to-do over this. But you just looking at some of the videos for this game, you're like, wow, I'm shocked. I never heard of this game. I never saw this game mentioned. I never, it was the first time I'd ever really come across it. But it looked like it was a pretty solid. All the reviews for it were saying that it was a really enjoyable game and that it was a solid title. So definitely looked like a good pick.
Yeah, I'll let you know what my opinion is for next year when we have the next 52 game review kind of forum post, the one where we post for every week we play a game, right? They do like small reviews. I'll let you know how the game was. Also, Calibraco, I'm not sure if you pronounce the name. Ja, heel leuk dat ik meedoe. Ik hoop dat je volgend jaar ook meedoet. Het is jammer dat ik de enige Nederlander ben. Het zou leuk zijn als meer mensen mee zouden doen. Dan houden we de shippingkosten een beetje down. Yeah, shout out aan Calibraco.
Yeah. Welcome to the chat, Calibraco. He beat me to it. He beat me to the shout out. So what was your first hint then when you opened it up? How did the vendor do? Because this will help me determine if I use them in the same way in the future. Was it actually gift wrapped or no?
It was just like a yellow envelope, and it was double wrapped at least to protect it, but there was nothing in it. There was no card or anything.
Okay. What did they say on the from? Did they say?
Yeah, so Euro Packet GmbH, which is some German company name, GmbH, and no, it just says my address, and it says the address it was shipped from, and yeah.
They were supposed to
printed. Sorry.
They were supposed to gift wrap it, and they're supposed to say from Santa.
No.
So I'm gonna send them a little message with a frowny face.
Wait. It could actually now that I'm thinking of, it could be that it was gift wrapped. I think it actually was gift wrapped, and sorry, it was gift wrapped, and I took it off on the So I got it, and I couldn't wait. So 1 or 2 days later, my brother said you should open it, and then I opened it for the second one. Actually, this one I impulsively opened myself.
So did you when you found it gift wrapped, you still thought it was from university?
Yeah, because sometimes because I also teach at university sometimes, and they send after each semester they send like some gifts. Of course, I should have known that it wouldn't be like a DVD style game box.
Gotcha. No, that's totally okay. I'm just, you know what? I thought maybe you're just like a student at university. It makes sense if you teach at university. I'm like, when I was a student,
I'm a student, and I teach a bit as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, like I was only the student, and they never sent me any gifts for Christmas. The only gift I got for Christmas was like, here's your grades. And
were they good grades though?
We'll move on to the next topic.
So should I go for the second one?
Sure. So the second one arrived a little time later. This was a different vendor, but also from eBay, and this one arrived wrapped.
I still have the wrap. I opened it already because I'm
excellent.
Very impatient person. But it says from Santa, and it has the American gift wrap with the Mickey Mouse and a Minnie Mouse.
Oh, very nice.
And then
send that vendor. Thank you.
And then it had a Tecmo game, Trapped. So whacked and trapped.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Trap, because Trap was another one. I looked up the video and I'm like, wow, this is really intriguing. Like, I'm probably actually going to go add these games to my own collection.
Yeah, sure. So this requires me to have knowledge about all the games, which I actually do not have.
That's okay.
It did come with a card from Quick Shop Games Limited. I'm not sure if you ordered there.
No.
And yeah. And so this is a Tecmo title. I guess it's a little. I think it was a little bit of a horror / strategy combination. But I heard it was not a very long game, which I like. I think that games nowadays are too long. It's around 8 hours, I think. And it's
that's good. You could play that in a day or two.
Yeah, that would be a very playable game. The thing is, you asked me, tell me more about the game. I have no idea.
That's okay. How did it land on your wish list?
I was looking for interesting. So when I was compiling my my wish list, not for Secret Santa, but in general, because I use VG Collect also more generally to keep track which games I want. So when I'm in a game store, I can just look at the list. And but I generally don't look at gameplay on YouTube. I think that's a little bit. It would spoil it a bit, I guess.
Yeah, so, sometimes it does.
Sometimes I look at reviews. Sometimes I just look at, for example, it's published by Tecmo, so I kind of trust that Tecmo releases a good game.
Yeah.
So
Very nice.
Yeah, dank u wel.
How was the condition of the discs?
So it's complete. The manual looks good. The box looks good.
Excellent.
And looks fine. There's some minor scratches, but it looks very good.
Excellent, excellent. That's the one thing that you never know, because sometimes people on eBay, they'll put that it's like near new or whatever, and you get it and you're like, this looks like somebody skipped it across the sidewalk. Like, I don't consider that near new, but so
yeah, as long as it plays and it looks good, I'm fine with it. Even if it does not include a manual, I wouldn't. Like, let's be real. They include the manual, but you don't really read the manual.
I read the manuals. Well, it's weird. Like, I don't usually I read the manual after I played the game. It's totally bizarre.
Afterwards?
And then yeah, well, just because it's like I kind of like you hinted, like sometimes games are just too darn long, and so it's a game that I liked, it's a game that I enjoyed. I kind of want to go back into that world, but I don't want to watch like a playthrough necessarily, and I want to see something new. So usually the only new content left is the manual, and so I'll go back and I'll reread, or not reread. I'll go back and I'll read the manual. And what's interesting is there's been a handful of games where I'm like, dude, all I have to do is hold R1 and it does that thing automatically that I kept doing by accident. Like,
I had that one game. I played Assassin's Creed Origins for like a month or something, but very sporadically, not a lot. Then I quit, and then 1 year later I wanted to play again, and I didn't know the controls anymore. So the tutorial was over, and then I was like, I will take a look at the manual. And nowadays games don't include a manual anymore, so I kind of have to guess.
Yeah, the in-game tutorials. Well, so not every game has an in-game tutorial, and then even the ones that do, like, what I don't like about it is the in-game tutorial is usually like you play a level or two, or there's a couple seconds into a particular level where they introduce a concept and they're like, all right, you got it, cool. And they assume that like you're going to play this game exclusively and commit it irrevocably to memory for like your remaining lifetime. So I'll learn the game in the first sit down. I'll be like, oh, okay, that's a little bit weird, right? But I almost feel like now with some of these games, I need to like make notes on the side, because I know 2 months later, I'm going to come back to this game having not played it because of work, life, whatever. And the first thing it would be like is like, now I know this person has a sword. How do I unholster the sword?
This sounds exactly like my experience with the Devil's Sword. So Devil's Sword was a game for the Wii U.
Yeah.
I kind of bought it because I saw it for 10 euros. I was like, okay, why not? It's kind of cheap. And I played the first 4 or 5 levels, and then there's like a boss that's really hard. And I quit, and now we're like half a year later, and I want to pick it up again, but the controls are kind of, there's a lot of controls, so almost all buttons are used on the Wii U, which has a lot of buttons. And I kind of, like, I'm kind of intimidated by going back because the controls are kind of convoluted. And I think there's no instruction manual as well.
I think it was a mistake for them to go no instruction manual. I realized that it was a cost-saving measure, but even if they did what I wouldn't mind is, I think that every game should have 2 features as standard if they're not going to have an instruction manual. I feel like feature 1 should be, I should be able to pause the game and go into a section that shows me what the controls are. Just show me all the controls and what they do.
I agree, yeah.
So, the other thing that I think should happen is that they should have a digital version of the manual that's right there in the game that I can access in game. So, because sometimes it's not just down to like what's in the controls. Like one of the things that shocked me was when I had Blaster Master for the NES way back in the day, we bought the game cartridge only, used from a friend of mine who bought it and got really frustrated with it because it was too difficult for him. And so we bought it for him for like half price, but we just got the cartridge. So I played it, figured it out. I only got stuck at like one part. I wrote into Nintendo Power. Months later, they actually wrote me back and they gave me enough of a hint to where I was like, oh, okay. It was kind of something obvious I should have picked up on, but I didn't, and just trying to grind through the boss. But they gave me enough of a hint to where I could figure out what I needed to do. And I was able to finally beat the boss. And then I went through and beat the whole rest of the game. But years later, as an adult, so like 20 years later, I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, I'll get some nice cases for my games. So I'm getting like nice cases from Stone Age Gamer and everything. I'm like, well, as long as I'm going to get the cases, I might as well, for the games that I really like and where I can get them cheaply, I'll buy the manual. And so I find the printed manual for Blaster Master. It arrives. Now, I must have spent hours and hours trying to figure out, because it's a very non-linear game. Like it's kind of like Metroid in that you unlock certain abilities, and those abilities allow you to get to the next level. But like level 4 could be in level 1, and level 3 could be in level 5 or whatever. Not all that made sense, but I think you understand what I'm getting at. Is that the order of levels is like all different?
Yeah, I think it was released a couple years after Metroid, so they kind of like took inspiration, I guess.
Very similar in that non-linear fashion. Well, come to find out, the instruction manual has a very high level map of where all the levels are and how they connect.
Oh, I was unmuted when I was muted. Well, that was very handy, I guess. Or you figured that out afterwards.
But 20 years later, after I'd already beat the game, like, I find out that there's this map the whole damn time, and here I was like flying and shooting every wall and doing like I was everything imaginable to try to figure out where's the entrance to the next level, the next world, like. And there's this map like right there on like page 4 of the instruction manual that shows you like where the different portals were.
I guess that's the downside of using the instruction manual as post game. How did you call it? Post game.
Yeah, I just kind of do it as like a refresher, but in some ways it kind of inspires me though, because it just goes to show how much time and thought in some cases were put into these games, and how the manual wasn't like an afterthought. The manual actually, as it turns out, was actually like a companion to the games, because we didn't have like this 5-hour cutscene going into the game. So if you actually read the instruction manual to the first Super Mario Brothers, there's quite a bit of like quirky, campy comedy in there. There's like a little mini comic in there about like leading up to like what happened and Mario and Koopa and everything. I kind of miss that. I kind of miss that offline. You can have this experience outside of the game, but it ties you to the game. Now it's pretty much either you're sitting down at the game or you're not. It's just a different. Sometimes I want to experience the game, but I don't want to actually play the game. I don't know. It's weird.
So back then you were a bit more reliant as well on like hearsay or something?
Well, I mean, yeah, we didn't have internet back then. So like in the early days, when NES first came out, there was no internet. So it's not like you could go Google it. It's not like you could, Google didn't exist. The internet did not exist, at least not available to everyday people. That wasn't until like the 90s. So in the mid 80s, late 80s, it was just you had Nintendo Power, and if you wanted to have communication, you talk with kids at school, and then just about half of that was rumors and everything. Like kids would tell these rumors of like, oh, above the 1-up in Mario, the first Mario, if you get there with this much time on the timer and you jump on the 1-up block and then jump up in the air, like there's a hidden vine. And there was no hidden vine. Like the person was just making it up, and then they wanted you to come in the next day all pissed off that you'd spent your entire night trying for this power up that wasn't really there. Versus now you could just Google it and see that the person's full of shit. So
on the day as well, when they say they know where it is, they also are kind of cooler at that point. But it's only very temporary status, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think I experienced the same, even though I'm only 24. One of my first games was Koemo1 Silver, and I think I played that game for like 4 years straight or something. And there was also a very big world, because like Koemo1 Silver also includes like the first Pokemon. So then you go with that boat to the other islands, and then I got stuck somewhere, and what I did was I talked to every NPC in Koemo1 Silver, and
Yeah.
I never. There was someone, you had to get some item. I don't know what the name was anymore. There was something like rainbow.
Right.
Rainbow something, doesn't matter. But I got it once, and then on another playthrough I was not able to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it really shows how invested we are in video games because we're already talking for like 15 minutes about instruction manuals.
Oh
So I
yeah.
think we should move on because
We could definitely move on.
I'm kind of hijacking the host status. We should move on to your.
Hatham
So
Hatham Gruxton in the chat agrees. He says so many rumors back in the day. We could do a whole stream just based on rumors. I'm gonna start. So it turns out you were my Secret Santa.
Yeah,
and
I was very determined to show that we Europeans also matter because I was kind of hearing like, yeah, I don't want to ship to Europe. I don't want to ship to Europe, and I was kind of like, come on, guys, I've done this for 6 or 7 times. Don't exclude me all of a sudden.
I gotta say, I was not about to let that happen. No VG collector left behind. So especially if you're a veteran to VG Collect and you've been in it for a while, and you've been an active participant, I was not going to let that stand. So I reached straight out to Sora behind the scenes and was like, I'll take them. So, and in fact, you've actually got a couple more things on the way. I won't get into it on the stream, but I had some family situations, some of them COVID related, where life got a bit crazy. So it turned out the only stuff I was able to get sent out to you was the stuff that I had other folks, the vendors, ship to you directly on my behalf. There's actually like a mini package that I was in process of trying to put together, but I just wasn't able to get everything in place and here in time to send it out. So you'll be getting like an early 2021 late Christmas supplement for what you've already received. So
I really appreciate that. Thank you. Let's hope it goes through Dutch customs. Also, I would like. Oh, sorry.
Anything I should not try to get through Dutch customs. I should probably ask that up front. I wasn't gonna send food.
I think that's fine. Yeah, I don't think that's a big of an issue to send food.
Okay. All right. I wasn't quite sure. But if there's any particular American goodies that you miss or that you look forward to, I could send you 8 tons of Tootsie Rolls if that's your jam.
Well, for years now I've heard these Tootsie Roll stories, but I'm very curious. I always get candy, but I think I never got Tootsie Rolls.
I'm making a note right now, dude. I'm gonna fix that problem. That's a glitch.
If we ever get matched up again, yeah, sure.
I'm gonna fix that problem, my friend. I apologize in advance if it turns out you don't like them. I'll get you the full experience. I'll find every flavor and.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's not like a Twinkie, because
no, nothing like a Twinkie.
I always heard these stories about Twinkies, and then we finally got them, and I was kind of disappointed by the Twinkies. Like, is that it? It's not good.
They built it up into this. So I'm gonna say this about Tootsie Rolls: you either like them or you don't. I'm not gonna try to build it into something great and awesome. I happen to like them. I don't have any issues with them, but they're not everybody's thing. Hatham says that Tootsie Rolls deserve more respect. I tend to agree with him, but then you got people like Casual that just like, you saw what happened if you watched the VG Collect Secret Santa from a couple days ago. Like, he put the smack down on the guy that sent him Tootsie Rolls. Like,
I came into the stream. It was like at the end because I had to turn in some work at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I think I joined around 4:15 or something, and that was like right at the end.
He buried the person he got the gifts for, who had previously gotten him Tootsie Rolls. He buried that person in glitter and confetti. It was yeah, it was crazy. Hey, Callus, how you doing, my friend? He says that Tootsie Rolls are okay. He guesses. I'm really curious about this gift from you, by the way. I haven't opened any of these.
There's also a note. I think you should start with the note.
Oh, start with a note? Let me see if I can find the note. There's quite a few items in here, actually.
Yeah, I tried to jam as much in the envelope. Calibro, what I do is I always put on the package that it's less than 50 euros, and I think then it's tax-free. I think $50 or euros is like the the beginning when they start to tag stuff. So as long as they don't open the package, they won't.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
That's
it.
That's the note.
Yeah.
All right. Let us see what's going on. So, Callus, you're joining us a little bit late. What's going on here is I'm here with Koemo1, and we did a Secret Santa gift exchange with VG Collect, and as it turned out, I was his Secret Santa and he was mine. So we're just kind of going through together. And Calibrico, the reason that you don't see every comment in the chat necessarily, you should see it on the screen up by me right here. But the reason that you won't see it is I'm streaming to both YouTube and Twitch, but you're only going to see the chat of the environment that you're in. So I think most folks are in Twitch. So if you want to jump over to twitch.tv/justme-v, all one word, you should be able to see it. Looks like a bunch of folks are joining us in Twitch. But I think
only Haytham is not on YouTube, because you see the small icon next to their avatar, right?
Yeah.
It's either a red circle or a blue circle.
Yep. Looks like Haytham is the one there. So, oh, that's kind of nice and festive. That's cool. It's almost like a little graduation type. Oh man, please tell me I don't have to break it. I don't.
It's yeah, I don't know
Velcro.
what it's called.
Guys, look, it's so nice. It's so nice. I don't want to damage it like in any way. Like this is like a premium envelope there. Dear DashV,
it's a poem.
You are a horrible jerk, and I hate you. All of these gifts are wrapped turds. What? Dude. No, that's not what...
If we actually cursed, it would be a lot worse than that. I can
All right. Here we go. I don't have my glasses, so I'm going to do my best. Dear DashV, Santa Claus was in deep distraught about all the gifts that he bought. He knew the Dash would want some games, but buying for the right consoles were his aim. Playing the NES can be a great diversion. Is that what that says? A great excursion. I hope you don't mind PAL to NTSC conversion. These games won't include a single glitch. Hopefully you still play your Nintendo Switch. The CDI is a console he never worships. So evilly, Santa Claus included games by
Phillips.
By Phillips. Worship Phillips. Okay. This last long
Phillips. I tried to stretch. It's very hard to make a video game poem.
This last long rhyme indicates my poem got shipwrecked. But Merry Christmas from your Secret Santa from VG Collect. That's pretty cool, dude. You know what? I appreciate self-done touches like this, and that's kind of the gist of like the parts of yours that got hung up, because I was like, it's not. I wanted to make sure a bulk of the things are things that I was worried would get taxed, like cross country. I wanted to try to dodge that and get those out to you early. But then in terms of things that only could like come from America or whatever, I wanted to kind of put something together and do like a little special thing for you. But that was the part where I got a little tied up. So we got a Christmas. We got that was a cool Christmas poem. Mrs. Dash says, you mixed that up with my gifts for you. Okay, Mrs. Dash, that's my wife, actually. Mrs. Dash, I don't know what you're talking about, my friend. Oh, this is interesting. These have magnetic properties, my friends.
Oh.
Oh, now I'm curious. I thought maybe they'd be chocolates, but chocolates aren't magnetic.
No, I know it would not dare to ship chocolate overseas, because it get overhauled. So they're just some small goodies that last year I included the clock.
Yeah.
So this year,
folks, he got me a Rembrandt. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I like that. I have a stainless steel little mini fridge down here. I'm gonna put that on the mini fridge. See what else we got going on here. I think, do I have a Picasso? I wonder if he got me a Picasso.
I think Picasso was Spanish, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, I have a Van Gogh.
Very nice pronunciation.
Check that out, my friends. That's very nice. And since he complimented my pronunciation, I won't attempt to say it again. I'll let him believe that my pronunciation is flawless. That might have been 50% luck. All right. I like these little pictures, my friend. I like these little pictures.
Yeah, I always try to include some smaller gifts as well.
This is a, now I might pronounce this one incorrect. This one is a Vermeer.
Can I see? I think so, yeah. Milkmaid.
That's pretty, folks, like, no joke. Like, these look pretty neat.
Because I think it would be a nice change from like a Mario or like a Zelda magnet.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it's not video game related, but maybe they would look nice on the fridge.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm actually thinking like maybe I take, because I've got those little they're not arcade one-ups, but I have those little tiny like keychain stand-ups that are like Galaga and, you know, Space Invaders and Pac-Man and stuff like that. And I've been thinking like what I could do with these things to make a display. Like I could make like a little diorama that's like a wall, like a little corner of some room, like an arcade room, only instead of the arcade machines being surrounded by like, you know, all this arcade memorabilia, they're just like surrounded by like these fine paintings from like classic artists.
That would require you to come to Europe to do some magnet hunting.
Nice. Oh, I got another Van Gogh. That's his good side.
The self-portrait.
Yes. That's pretty cool. I like the little, I'm really a fan of the little frames and stuff that they put them in. You know, they really do add to it. And the little gold leaf title there.
I tried to remove all the stickers from the back because they had some stickers on there. I'm not sure if they look okay.
They mostly came off. But I have some Goo Gone I can use on those. That's not a big deal at all, my friend.
Yeah, we don't have Goo Gone, so that's the problem.
What? No Goo Gone? Is it banned?
I doubt it. There might be a market for Goo Gone, but I don't know any store where to buy Goo Gone. But I always hear it on the internet, or like GameSack or LGR. They would talk about.
I'm curious. I'm coming back to this. Like I've been wondering because when I did take a brief peek in here to open it up, just to make sure that you know, nothing was like damaged or anything. But I didn't open anything, and this is the first thing I saw, and I'm like, what is that? What is it? This is not game related. Just Callus has to do some parenting. That's all right, Callus. We excuse you. Teach your children basic hygiene. The world will thank you. All right. Oh, goodies. I like it. Check this out. These are local goodies or these are general goodies?
Those are hard candies from in the Netherlands and Belgium. I think they're both Belgian and Dutch candies.
Very nice.
I'd include one or two from all of them.
So you see this drop toffee? That drop toffee?
Yeah.
So a little bit of a spoiler. I forgot what they're called. We were talking about them earlier. We send them to everybody, the American candies. Let me
Licorice?
it's slipping. No, Tootsie Rolls. There we go.
Tootsie Rolls?
Tootsie Rolls are going to be kind of like this, only in different, they've got vanilla, lime, chocolate. It's going to be the same consistency, almost like the toffee, where it's like a little bit chewy. It's going to be more textury, like toffee is generally like smooth and slick. But the Tootsie Roll is a little bit more gritty. So
gritty,
a little bit of a spoiler there. That's cool. I'm looking forward to some of those. Very nice. Gonna have to hide those from the boy, or I'm never gonna get any of them.
There's some flavors that kind of strong, so I'd be aware though. The variative. Some flavors are actually very strong.
I will have them on live stream. That way, if I get surprised, I can share my surprise with the internet. I can already tell this is the back end of a Nintendo game. Now, folks, I kind of might have dropped some not so subtle hints to Sora that I had no issues also being assigned to somebody out of country, and I deliberately there's a couple dynamics at play. One, pretty much I don't have anything left on my wish list, right? So I like if I like wanted it, I pretty much already got it. And so then two, I knew that shipping was getting a little crazy and that some of the rules were getting a little bit tighter and everything. So I was trying to be a pal to whoever might get me from out of country. And so my wish list was kind of cheated toward like non-physical items or things that would be easy to go. So I appreciate that you went the extra mile and that you're going off book. So far, I love everything. That the treats, the portraits and everything. All these are really, really great. And that's kind of what I like about having an ambiguous wish list is I'm in a spot right now where I can just kind of appreciate giving and receiving in general. So I'm less like, oh, I didn't get exactly item number 4 on my wish list. That's kind of not me, but I'm curious what Nintendo game, because I don't think I had anything.
It was partially out of necessity because buying something in America would require either a credit card or PayPal, which neither I do not have because they don't give out credit cards very easily here. It's you need a very high fixed income, that kind of stuff, and PayPal I also don't have. So yeah, I always just go to stores and buy stuff, then wrap it, and then send it.
Now, do they have like NTSC games and stuff readily available there, or do you have to go to like import shops?
I always buy PAL. I always go for consoles that are how do you say, region free, except for this Nintendo game, because I saw you have the how do you call it, the Retron 5 or something? You have some aftermarket console, right?
I do have the Retron 5, and I do have that NT Mini. So
you could play this game.
Oh yeah. So the game is Power Blade, which I do not have. This is not a game in my collection. So, but I believe this is like a Ninja Gaiden-esque type platformer, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna give that a shot. I might play that.
It's not the Power Blade. It's not the Power Blade 2, because that one is like 250 euros or something. It's the Power Blade 1. So this one is but it's very good. I think totally. I don't have a NES, so
it's totally fine. I greatly appreciate it. It's a game I don't already have, so which is hard to do actually. That's pretty cool. This almost feels like a Nintendo Switch game.
I do not know. It's been so long. I was actually very happy that my package arrived because I was afraid that I would be the first person to break the 100% rule, and it took so long to ship, like 5 or 6 weeks.
I'm a super patient guy. Like I would not have, even if it had to come a little bit later, as long as you had like tracking or something for it. My bigger concern would be
I don't have tracking because that costs like 10 euros or something.
Okay, I see. Because my bigger concern would be lost in the mail. I've actually had this happen with a couple of vendors where games that I ordered for myself, just like a year went by and they never showed. And on one of the vendors I reached out to, they're like, dude, we dropped all of our packages off because of COVID. They forced us to drop them off in this side room. and apparently nobody was supervising because one day we dropped off an entire shipment. No one from that shipment ever got their game. They have no idea what happened. They dropped off like $5,000 worth of games at a post office in the safe room, right? And none of those games ever made it to their. At first, they're just like, okay, people are trying to get free games, but then when every single person from that batch, they're like never using that post office again. So now they go across town and use a completely different post office to ship out the games. It's crazy.
Damn.
But this is cool. Spyro Reignited Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch. I think this one might have actually been on my wish list.
Yeah. So most of the Switch games that were on your wish list, they were not available, but this one was.
I tried to pick I deliberately the games that I put on my wish list. I tried to put very affordable games on the wish list because I know in the past, usually I think we have like a $50 target, and then you got to factor in shipping and stuff like that. And I never factor the shipping into the $50 target. So I try to go up to or exceed the target if I can, without being like ridiculous. And then I tack shipping on top of it. But sometimes depending, right? Like there's games going for like $60-$70 now US. It can be hard to even get like one thing without just going way over. And it's not so much going over, it's that I don't like only getting somebody one or two presents. Like I like it to be like there's some variety and there's some different things in there.
Yeah.
But, I'm super excited about this. I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually friends with the one of the people who was the initial creators of Spyro, Craig Stitt. So he worked with Mark Cerny and a handful of others actually on the first design of Spyro, selecting his color and things like that. And I've got quite a bit of draft footage I'll be releasing a special on sometime in 2021 about the origins of Spyro. There have been some previous stories kind of released about the origins of Spyro, but they are not complete, my friends. There's more that you have not heard and that you have not seen. So
I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yeah, so
I think I subscribed this Wednesday to your channel.
Excellent, folks. If you like what you're watching, go ahead and hit the subscribe. One of my goals is actually to play Spyro and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Hidden Palace Zone with Craig Stitt on a live stream so that he can talk about his work while I'm actually playing his work. I think that would be so cool. He also worked on Hidden Palace Zone for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is a level that was cut from the game. And we talked about rumors earlier. For the longest time, it was rumored to exist. You could find it in the level select menu. You could find audio files. You could find the stage music for the Hidden Palace Zone, and it had the name Hidden Palace Zone, but no one could ever find it. And then years later, somebody uncovered bits and pieces of it that was not fully functional or playable using a Game Genie code. Craig surfaced about that time and said, hey, yeah, I'm the developer that did the artwork for it and everything. Of course, nobody believed him. But then we actually brought him on the show, and he presented, screenshots, footage, and everything of like photos of him back in the Sega days working on the digitizer, actually doing the pixel art. And so everyone on the internet got to shut it.
So did he have a hand in the Reignited trilogy as well? Did they ask him for consultancy or something like that?
He did not. He's actually retired from video game creation, but I get it. He's hanging around a lot in the Sega Retro Gamers group on Facebook. So, and he's been sharing a lot of artwork and stories from back in the day. So I have a feeling he's getting the itch. And there's a game that he worked on that it got greenlit by Sega, but then partway through the development, they decided not to proceed. But he had a fully working prototype of this game called Segapede, which is kind of like a cross between Sonic the Hedgehog and Centipede. And the artwork for it was absolutely amazing.
You posted that on YouTube, I saw.
Yeah. At some point, he's hoping maybe figure out with Sega the right situation and see if he can actually, obviously it wouldn't be called Segapede, but
Sega's just gonna release Yakuza and Sonic. That's about it.
Right. So I'm hoping. I told him he should talk to them. Maybe they'll sign him a little thing that gives him the rights to it, and he can proceed. But this, I already unwrapped enough of this. I'm gonna guess and say this is a CDI game.
That's correct. I tried to include CDIs if people have the console.
I do have the console actually, and I don't have this game.
Actually, CDI is region free.
Oh, is it? I did not know that. This is kind of cool. This says Family Games, and it looks like it's got Super Slide, Morphon Invasion, Wizard, Hot Rocks, Where's That Sound, something called Skid Cart, and Full Attack. Looks like it's a collection of mini games and activities. Back when Philips was trying to do like infotainment, right?
Yeah, like edutainment, infotainment. But this is an actual game. It's by a company that later also tried to make some games that could be played by 4 people at once, called Crayon Wars. They tried to push the limit of what the CDI could do, but I think the CDI is a very underappreciated console. It was very ahead of time.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that there were some certain missteps for sure. Like maybe don't ship a entertainment console with a spoon for a controller. But
yeah, well, for the because it was not mainly focused for games at the beginning, so it was very much for watching the VCDs or the video CDs and do some watch some educational stuff and maybe play some like very normal games like the mahjong or puzzle game or something. But later they come up with some more groundbreaking stuff. For example, the first online first-person shooter for a console, I think it was for the CDI, Atlantis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it was only for like Western Europe or something. It was the only place where they rolled out this internet broadband or modem. I don't know which one.
I'll have to check that out. I was not aware of that. I do know that CDI is one of the few systems out there where the light guns still work, because the way the light guns worked, it was kind of like the Nintendo Wii is actually very similar in how it was built. The light gun, there's a sensor bar and there's IR, and they communicate with each other. And so you can actually play the Philips CDI games on any modern TV. You just set up the sensor bar near the TV and you calibrate in the in-screen menu, and it works just fine. You can play games like Who Shot Johnny Rock, Mad Dog McCree, things like that. I was actually, and the graphics look really, really good for those FMV games. It does them very, very well if you have the digital encoder chip built in.
You mean the DVC, right? The digital video cartridge.
Yes.
So the problem is I have the light gun box, but I don't have any light gun game, because on the box itself they market that some Chaos Control or something, some Chaos Control. It's a gun you can use with the light gun.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is actually possible.
I have the Mad Dog McCree kit one, so I have the gun that came with Mad Dog McCree, and that works flawlessly.
Then I need to actually find some CDI games that use the light gun.
Yeah, check out in my VG Collect. Go ahead and check out under Philips CDI. I believe I have it under accessories. I think I have it listed. If not, I should add it. But if you get the gun that I had, then it should work just fine on any TV. So there's stuff they did right too. I think it's important to acknowledge that you're right.
Yeah, they took some baby steps. There were actually 2 first-person shooters. One is called Ram Raid, that was on the internet disc itself, and the one was called Atlantis: The Last Resort. And they were released in like 79, 97, I don't know, like 97, which is very late, and it looks like Super Nintendo graphics, but they were very groundbreaking. Yeah. Nice.
Well, even I have to say, CDI was very hit and miss. So I think Super Nintendo graphics is actually pretty decent for CDI. Not that the console wasn't capable of more, but either you had games like Who Shot Johnny Rock, which looked fantastic. The full motion video was there, and it was all good. Or you had games that were like, I'm struggling to come up with the name of a game right now, but certainly there were a collection of games
Kind of game?
What's that?
What kind of game? You mean like a side scroller that looks kind of decent?
Yeah, you had games like Who Shot Johnny Rock and games like Mutant Rampage Body Slam, which for the most part looked pretty decent. I mean, Mutant Rampage had some issues where it played more like a tech demo. It looked like a very good tech demo, but it still didn't feel like they'd really finished the game. But then you have other games like I think Demo's Quest and things like that. The Apprentice is what I'm thinking of that springs to mind that just looked absolutely gorgeous.
Those were all released by the Vision Factory, I guess, which is some small company that was based in the Netherlands. And yeah, they would look like Amiga games, I guess, on a CDI. But the problem was there was just not enough RAM on the CDI itself. And even this, it's very very unpopular opinion, but I like the Zelda CDI games, and I think they look very good.
I have not played them, so I've seen commentary on them. I didn't play them myself, so I'm not. I do have to. I'm encouraged by the opinion that they're worth checking out because I've always wondered, like, do I believe sometimes the hate is just there for the sake of clicks?
Yeah, but I played them. I actually found them both for like €1, €2 in like some batch of CDs. And I don't have the English subtitle, or sorry, the English dub. I have like a Dutch dub, and it sounds quite good. And I'm on the opinion that it's one of the better games on the console. It's like an adventure, RPG-ish kind of game, which we don't have a lot on the CDI.
No. This feels like it might be another CDI game. Family Games 2, my friends. Family Games 2. And oh my goodness, like even on the back cover, you can definitely see. So here's the back of Family Games 1, right? And it almost looks like, this isn't a slam, it's just an observation, but this almost looks like what you would find in like the bargain bin. You know what I mean? But then take a look at this, folks. Take a look at this. Like Family Games 2, kind of what you were talking about. Like the graphics on, at least the stills on this, look like many steps up. This is kind of what I was getting at before, where like CDI, I think, had a lot of games that I guess we kind of made the term shovelware like very, very popular. But I think CDI and even 3DO to a certain degree, because they were in that infotainment category, I think that they were the first to really suffer from shovelware, where there were literally developers just throwing stuff
and,
on the console.
Atari as well, I guess.
So
Atari did that as well. But what I also like about CDI is that the disc itself. You should take a look at Family Games 2. It has a very interesting like disc design. I think that's an art. That's an art that they kind of dropped. Because PlayStation 2, 3, 4, all the discs, they look kind of similar. But I think that on the CDI they did some interesting stuff with it. So if you take a look at the disc, it's always different.
We'll take a look. Very the glare though, but you might be able to
open it. Open the.
I just want to show them the differences in the graphics just from the screenshots. Even the front of it just seems a lot more polished on the second one. So this one coming out later, as they get to know more of the console and what it can do. Wow, I see what you mean. That's really cool.
So it's like a pizza, I guess.
That is really cool. And it goes all the way to the inner spiral. That's rare that they would go all that far in there. And then versus, let's see what the first disc looked like. The first disc maybe is just a normal disc. Yeah.
That's.
So this one is more like what you'd expect. Like this came bundled with your PC, right? This is more like the premium experience. And then they even went in with the inner art, so it's like a pizza, but the pizza sits on the
plate in a diner. Because I think the setting is like a diner, and from there you can select various games.
And the artwork continues over to the instructions. That's really kind of.
I didn't notice that one yet.
That's really cool. And then the manual is way higher quality too in the second one. This manual, I was noting, this manual feels like it's Well, I can't get it out. I don't want to damage it. But the manual on this one is once you get past the initial cover, the manual's all black and white, and the paper feels almost like newspapery. This is like a really high quality paper. Like they put some serious investment into it. It's full color manual with like custom artwork in the manual. Like they what's that? Super Pizza 2? Kind of like a rip on dude, I want to play this game.
I'm happy to make people excited for like a 25-year-old console.
There's like
a 20-year-old console.
There's like a penguin, like a Mary Poppins penguin, like serving stuff. Going Dutch kind of looks like it's got like a little bit of a Mortal Kombat type flair there.
So it's I guess it's very much like a menu or something that presents all the games.
Right. I'm really excited actually for that game. It looks like they really put a lot into this second Family Games one. So what I'll do, folks, I'm going to do a stream at some point coming up. I'll do a stream where we'll check out. We'll see if the whole experience holds. My expectation is this one will be functional, but somewhat underwhelming. But what'll be interesting is to see the contrast of that game to this game, and to see like the level of quality of like the audio, the graphics, and things like that, and the gameplay. See if they learned any lessons from 1 to 2, and then try to dig back and see if I can figure out any history of the making of this and the making of this. Right? Was it the same development team, different development team, that kind of thing. That as an engineer really always fascinates me, is the journey of figuring out how to take hardware and software and make an experience that we get attached to, where we'll talk for like 4 hours about the manual. All right, we got one. I believe we got the one piece left.
I think so. Yeah, it should be 9 or 10 packages in total.
Let's see what we got going on. These are all good picks so far, my friend. You got me excited to tear into these. Oh, this one feels like a steelbook, actually. What is this?
It was the one steelbook on your wish list.
Oh, this is Xbox One. Xbox One. This is Hitman, the complete first season for, well, my green screen is keying it out, but this is for Xbox One. That's pretty cool. Did I put the steelbook on there in the wish list, or just
you were very specific that it should be the steelbook.
Very nice. Look at that. The guy, he kind of like, do you notice the resemblance, folks? I mean, I haven't shaved, but if I was shaved, we'd basically be brothers.
Do you have the barcode on? He has like a barcode on his head, right?
I will never say.
That's why I have the Christmas hat to conceive it a bit.
This is what I like. I'm going to be careful because I'm not going to show any of the inserts or whatever for the codes, but I always find it hilarious, right? Like, why did they not do manuals? Because they're trying to save money, but they can give me advertisements, and they can give me like required warnings. Like, why can't you couldn't like on this advertisement for like the DLC, you couldn't put like a little like screenshot of the controls?
That would be very handy. I mean, it wouldn't work on the required safety features. I think that's a law. You cannot put any other stuff on there.
Right.
But that brings me back to the manual part, because there's going to be an interesting part because there's a transition period between games that came with the manual and games that came without. And we as VG Collect should also embark on like a way to catalog which ones came with a manual, which ones came not, because otherwise how can you say that a game is complete when it doesn't have a manual, but we're not sure if it ever came with one. That is
really and even different variants, right? Different variants might it could have been that it was possible for you to purchase without a manual or with a manual. This is mainly actually happening. Another challenge I'm seeing in VG Collect, kind of related to this, is that there are games now. There are unofficial games being made that are re-releases of original games, right? Like I've got Earthbound Uncut for the Super Nintendo. This is a reproduction made by Flashback Gaming. And this has a box. This has a manual. This has an in-game map and strategy guide and all that other stuff in there. Same thing with Kid Dracula. This is an import game that's been translated, and it's very much same deal. It's got maps, it's got posters, it's got manual. So one of the things I know that in VG Collect you can kind of say, you can add a game that's missing, and you can say this game is not an official, it's a homebrew or whatever. But I'm kind of
some manuals are on the back of the cover, very small. I think that would be with Switch games. I don't have a Switch, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about, and you're right. There's a handful of games where they'll just have an insert that's like a simple, or if you flip it open on the inside cover, I have seen that before. I think every game should do that to some degree.
I never touch the inside cover and flip it around because I never get it all the edges straight again. which makes the spine look a bit crooked, and I really dislike that.
Yeah, I think VG Collect might want to add a checkbox rather than. I noticed for me to start cataloging some of my collection, because homebrews and ports and translations have actually become a big part of my purchasing and everything now. Rather than adding in all these bootleg, like high quality, right, high production value bootlegs, rather than having so many things where I'm doing it that way, literally re-adding games that are just somebody did a repro. It might be nice if we had a box that we could click that just says this isn't the original, this is a repro, and then that way you could say I have Mario 2, but it's a repro, not the original. And then you don't have to have like 5 entries for the same game just because 4 different places happen to make a repro of it. Now, which repro is it, and that kind of thing. But
I think that also kind of clogs up VG Collect, because I agree with that. I see the same thing with European games, where they would add like the Dutch-French variant, and then the German variant, and the Italian and the Spanish, and then the amount of PAL games look very impressive, but it's like 6 times the same game. With only,
like 7 copies of Mario Brothers.
Well, I'm more talking about PS2 kind of thing. I don't collect Nintendo, NES, Super Nintendo kind of. Well, I do collect a bit of Super Nintendo, but I think that it very clogs up the regional differences from country to country. Yeah, or sometimes I would see that my game has been renamed to some version of the same game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's very cumbersome to find the right version of your game if there are 7 versions.
Well, folks, I hope now you see, right? Anybody that was nervous about getting somebody from out of country, like, we made it work. We made it happen. Things came together, and it was magical. So we got games, both of us, I think, that we wouldn't have normally regularly got on our own, but they were definitely
both games I've never seen in the wild ever, trapped or wet.
Oh yeah, I found quite a few. I found quite a few vendors that had them. So, and I wasn't. It helps too when I'm buying for somebody else. Sometimes when I'm buying for myself, like, it has to be like, if it's a game I'm only lukewarm about. And by the way, thank you very much for the follow, Sean Trek. I saw that. I see you, and I appreciate you. Drop us a message there in the chat if you want to. What are you looking forward to getting for Christmas? Back on topic though, I really when I'm shopping for myself, if I'm on the fence about something, it's got to be like the price has to fall down into impulse buy territory, or I'm just not going to jump. When I'm buying for someone else, I'm a little bit more relaxed on less about is this a good deal? I mean, there still is a small amount of I don't want to get ripped off, right? If somebody says $90 and everyone else is saying $40, obviously I'm going to pay the $40 price, not the $90 price. But if everybody's selling it for $40 or up, and I'm still not sure if it's worth $40, I'm not thinking, if I'm buying for somebody else, is this title worth $40? I'm more thinking, do I think that this person will enjoy this title? Does this look like a title that is a good gift for this person? If that's the case, the price is the price, right? Unless you have other options, right? And so I do like that aspect of it, at least for me. During Christmas, when I'm buying for other people, I'm a little more forgiving on the prices, in terms of, being flexible. It's not about like, do I think there's $40 of value in this title? It's do I think and hope that the person I'm getting this for will get $40 of value out of it? And that could be a very different answer. So
yeah, I think I do agree. But most of the time, I do not pay a lot for the games. For like as I told you, the CDI games. Well, you cannot put a value on the CDI game because it's not very desirable. Let's say it like that.
right.
I always
There's many ways to interpret that.
I always see them in the CD bin for 50 cents with all the other CDs. So that would be like €1 in total for the CDI games. And the NES game, I bought that many years ago for a very low price. And over the years, NES games became very, very expensive. So I could have called it a day with that, but that would not be fair. And
Right.
I always like to fill those cardboard envelopes. I don't know if you still have the cardboard envelope, but I have like 10 or 15 of those cardboard envelopes, and I've been using
for CDI games.
No, the shipping one. I always try to fill the shipping envelopes.
Please.
Yeah, I've been using the same one every year, and I always try to fill them completely.
Nice.
And because I try to be environmentally friendly, it's always the recycled one. Somebody else already used that one to send something to me, and I just tape it back shut. That's why there was a lot of like tape on it. I don't know if you've noticed there was a lot of tape because you need to fill all the cracks because it's an already used box.
Right. Well, that was very environmentally friendly. But and there was a bit of he was good. He padded these things quite well. There's a little bit of like memory foam. I think the games were probably more comfortable in there than I am on this couch right now. So because of the memory foam is kind of nice and everything. So I appreciate everything that you got for me. Thank you so much. And you said how many years has this been you doing it with VG Collect?
I started in 2014. I was very lucky. I was allowed to join the first time because I joined in May 2014, and they start in September or October or something.
Yeah.
But I started from year 2, and I did not participate once. So I participated once, not.
Yeah.
In 2018.
Yeah, folks. So far, I think they said 8 years they've been doing it, and 100% completion from the participants every single year. So, and this year was no exception. I'm curious about one of these. I'm gonna give it a shot, and then we'll see if we have to. All right, that one's a coffee candy. I want to pick the one that almost looks like the Tootsie Roll, so I can see if I steered you correctly. There's two that almost look very Tootsie Roll-esque. I'm doing it right now because if it ends up being a nasty surprise, I can jump out. Hey, Wolfie the Fury, what's up, my friend?
So Wolfie the Fury, I think.
Wolfie the Furry. I said the Fury. I made you like so tough, so intense. All right, my friends, here it goes. Success. This is the drop toffee from Venmele.
I cannot read that. I'm sorry. Drop toffee van Melle. Zou best kunnen van Melle. I don't know. I just go to a candy store and I shovel them in a bag, and I try to include.
This is black licorice flavor.
Yeah. I think it's either very bitter one or very salty one.
Mm-hmm. So, consistency-wise and everything, I don't know. Have you ever had one of those candies or no?
Yeah. We are very big licorice eaters.
So that is going to be. Imagine that consistency, that density that chewiness, only it's a chocolate flavor, not the licorice. That's basically what a Tootsie Roll is going to be.
All right, I'm curious.
Yeah. So, but I'll hook you up on that. We'll fix that. We'll fix that problem right away. And then next year you could be very vocal on Vici Collect as to whether or not you want more Tootsie Rolls ever. I already have a note here. No Twinkies.
No Twinkies.
Well,
I don't want to be rude, but I have to go in a short while. Also, my laptop is running out of battery.
I was just gonna wind things up, actually. So, anything else that you want to say to the viewers before we wind down, my friend?
Well, thank you for watching. I hope my English was not too not understandable. I'm still trying to work on it, and I think that over the time the stream has become more popular. So it's kind of a shame that we're quitting, but we have to end everything at some point.
That's the way it goes. You know, when you're just about ready to wind down the stream, that's when everybody jumps in. But folks, I'll be shutting down this stream and processing this candy. This second piece was a lot more chew than what I signed up for. So I'll finish this off stream. I might come back on a little later tonight for you guys because I have some camera gear that actually arrived that I'm going to be unboxing and doing an inventory on. So I'll be over actually in the shop doing some streaming. So if you folks want to check that out, you can go ahead and tune in. If you showed up a little late, you can always rewind and check us out unboxing each other's gifts and waxing nostalgic about manuals and where have they gone.
Don't forget the CDI as well. CDI and rumors were also a big important part.
Thank you so much. These are going to be on an upcoming stream for sure. All right. Take care, folks. Good night, Dark Phoenix. Good night, Wolfie. Good night, Sean Trek, also known as Cartagia. Callus, I hope that you were able to convince your daughter that taking a shower is something that people do. And Mrs. Dash, love you as always. So take care, folks.
Good day.